All right, let's just jump right into this explainer and unpack a seriously fascinating mystery. We need to talk about why artificial intelligence progress seems to have suddenly hit a massive brick wall. For years, right, we've been told that AI is on this unstoppable exponential upward trajectory, that it's practically guaranteed to surpass human intellect in the blink of an eye. But the actual data we're seeing right now, it tells a very, very different and highly unexpected story. We're going to dig into some pretty revealing numbers, interrogate the possible suspects behind this sudden halt, and figure out what all of this actually means for the future of technology.
Now, to really understand where we're at today, we have to rewind and look at the expectations that were set for us almost 2 decades ago. Back in 2005, futurist Ray Kurzweil famously promised this era of, well, basically godlike AI. In his book, The Singularity is Near, he confidently stated that we will eventually create AIs that are 1 billion times more intelligent than we are. And that bold prediction, it set up these massive expectations for infinite, unchecked technological growth. It basically became the baseline assumption for tech enthusiasts, investors, and honestly, the general public.
But flash forward to our current reality, and it brings us to our core mystery. Have we already hit the ceiling of synthetic intelligence? I mean, are we standing face to face with a fundamental physical limit of the universe, kind of like the speed of light or the speed of sound? Or is there a completely different, perhaps much more human reason behind the recent stalling of AI? This question is absolutely crucial because the answer dictates whether the greatest technological revolution of our lifetimes has just begun, or actually, scratch that, if it's already peaked.
So let's move to part one, the strange IQ plateau. It's time to investigate this anomaly.
Let's treat this sudden halt in AI progress like a detective story. Researcher Maxim Lott recently tracked an incredible trajectory. He started testing the intelligence of top AI models using offline, cheat-proof IQ tests, literally the exact same standard metric we use to measure human intelligence. In May of 2024, our top models scored an 80 on the test. But over the next 17 months, something spectacular happened. By October of 2025, these top AIs were scoring a 130. That is a phenomenal, consistent increase of 2.5 IQ points every single month. It looked exactly like that exponential growth Kurzweil promised, but then something weird happened. That 2.5-point monthly climb didn't just slow down. It came to a complete screeching halt, an 8-month dead stop. Maxim Lott found absolutely no theoretical or technological explanation for this, but the models literally just stopped getting smarter. In fact, for almost 8 months since hitting that 130 peak, our top models aren't even hitting 130 anymore. They're peaking at 128. They are completely stuck. So what in the world happened?
Which brings us to part two, interrogating suspect number one. Have we hit a technological intelligence wall? We really need to question this first suspect, the idea that it's simply too hard to build an AI past a 130 IQ. Some experts theorize we've hit what's called a conceptual wall. That's a theoretical limit, fundamentally preventing humans from building AIs more intelligent than themselves. Think of it like a builder trying to construct a ladder to the moon while standing on the ground. Eventually, the physics just break down. Do we simply lack the mental capacity to engineer an intellect greater than our own? But honestly, this is exactly where that theory totally falls apart. Just look at the comparison. The peak AI IQ score is currently maxing out at roughly 128 to 130. However, the top human AI developers building these systems already possess IQs in the 140s and 150s. We have absolute proof that higher intelligence is highly possible to engineer because the biological machines building the AI, the human developers themselves, are already significantly smarter than the models they're outputting. So we haven't hit a conceptual wall with intelligence. That leads us straight into part three, interrogating suspect number two. Are developers intentionally throttling AI? If it's not a hardware or software limitation, we really have to look at the people pulling the strings. When we weigh the debunked can't build it theory, that technological limit, against the won't build it theory, things get super interesting. If developers can build smarter AI, but they aren't, it heavily suggests intentional throttling. And that opens up a massive motive rooted in corporate strategy, self-preservation, and of course, economics. Humans aren't saints, right? The people deciding how intelligent proprietary AI will be might have just consciously or even unconsciously decided not to let it get any smarter. Just consider the real-world motives for stalling progress here. After all, why on earth would you build something that immediately makes you obsolete? Perhaps the CEOs of these massive tech companies realized that a 170 IQ AI could run their companies way better than they can, and for a fraction of the salary. Or maybe the decision is coming from the top down. Investors might be terrified that unleashing super-intelligent AIs would just evaporate the intelligence advantage they currently hold.
They definitely don't want an ultra-genius AI competing with them for the incredible wealth to be made across global industries.
Now, of course, before we go completely all in on the intentional throttling theory, we have to acknowledge one other very realistic possibility. Is the bottleneck simply the extreme difficulty of getting from a 130 to a 150 IQ? It could just be that crossing this specific threshold is exponentially harder than getting from 80 to 130. And if that's true, we have to ask ourselves, who is actually going to be the one to break through this incredibly difficult bottleneck?
Which brings us to part 4, the twist. We have to talk about the open source wildcard. If corporate gatekeepers have decided to keep proprietary AI intentionally dumb to protect their interests, or, hey, if they're simply stuck, the future of human progress might rest entirely in the hands of independent developers. Think about the number 150 for a second. If that 2.5-point monthly increase we saw earlier hadn't mysteriously stopped 8 months ago, AI would have already hit a 150 IQ by now. That is a massive, massive milestone. A 150 IQ perfectly matches the average score of a Nobel laureate in the sciences. We are talking about world-changing, totally paradigm-shifting levels of intellect. Aided by these 150 IQ genius models, humanity would be unlocking unprecedented scientific discoveries and highly accelerated medical cures. But perhaps the most incredible paradigm shift is this. Right now, human intelligence drives AI performance. But once an AI hits 150, the AI itself is going to be driving future technological advances. It'll literally be smart enough to iterate and improve its own code. So if the big corporations won't do it, who steps up? Imagine if an independent open-source developer, someone like Peter Steinberger, for example, solves this higher AI IQ bottleneck first. By working openly and collaboratively, an independent developer could release a model scoring 150 or more, completely bypassing the giant corporate gatekeepers and giving that incredible power directly to the public. The stakes here are not just scientific, they are incredibly lucrative. As the quote points out, whoever gets there first is bound to make a lot of money in ways that neither the proprietary AI developers nor the rest of the business world can prevent. It is highly likely that the first Nobel-level AI will emerge from the decentralized open-source community, and that would make those rogue, independent developers immensely wealthy very quickly, while completely disrupting the established corporate monopolies. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to consider. Will the corporate giants successfully maintain this artificial intelligence ceiling just to protect their own wealth and relevance? Or are we about to see a rogue open-source developer smash right through that 130 IQ wall and change the world forever? The race is officially on, and the very future of synthetic intelligence hangs in the balance.